Hey, this is Ross Payton with Role Playing Public Radio. This is our post-mortem for our Red Markets campaign, the Cooper County Wars. The campaign has, by the time you're listening to this, the whole campaign has been posted on RPP Actual Play. And so we have recorded this only 2 weeks after we finished the campaign, episode 13. So while it's still fresh in our heads,
not a whole year. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have improved on the post-mortem process.
Wait, what?
Yep. So that was our Red Markets campaign, our third Red Markets campaign on RPPR Actual Play. This time going just heavy on scores, vehicles, mass combat, a lot of different things. With a different group. Caleb wasn't even part of this campaign, which is also a first for RPPR. Compared to the other two campaigns.
Not for lack of desire.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But life.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. It was very memorable, and so we're gonna talk about it, the highlights, how it came about, and things we remember, all the best stuff. So first off, we should introduce Jason, the GM, and talk a little bit about the genesis of Cooper County Wars.
Well, I mean, as with all great works of art, naturally it comes down to capitalism. I am trying my level best to get the racket to Caleb so that you get.
And what is the racket?
The racket will be the massed combat / war rules supplement for Red Markets Vanilla,
which may be out by the time you the listener hear this. Who knows?
That would be nice, but oh fuck.
So what you're saying, Jason, if I'm hearing this right, is buy your book.
Yeah,
buy your book.
I mean. Yeah, I guess. I still look at it as Caleb's book, but yeah, I guess technically it is my name under the title. But yeah, so no, I've heavily tested the mass combat and war rules to death at this point. But in doing all that, all of my nifty little ideas for some cool stuff that I wanted to see for equipment and whatnot in Red Markets, as well as some stuff that kind of organically came about, that being, militarized vehicles. Like I thought about, how they should play. Didn't actually try them ever. Well, I mean, the vehicles showed up, but basically I just kind of fudged the rules for all that. So I was like, Caleb, you probably want me to field test this stuff, right? And he's like, yes, please don't break my game. And I was like, okay, yeah, I should do that. Who can I trust to actually do this? Well, RPPR knows the ins and outs of this stuff. So yeah, I'll throw new flashy toys at them and see what they think. And yeah, I just wanted 4 or 5 games. It was just going to be test 1 or 2 vehicles, hit, the first milestone for war assets, and then do a little war session so you guys could actually see the final product of war rules. And then y'all, for whatever reason, had fun, so it turned into a real campaign. So yeah, no, that was basically the genesis of it. Was I wanted to see how all of my new shiny toys are going to work, and make sure that they would properly and wholly cripple the Red Markets community that will greedily gobble them up to take out on jobs. And then you guys were like, yo, let's do scores so we can pay for all this shit. And I was like, well, all right, I guess maybe I won't get to see if this is going to break people. But actually I did, because you guys
did.
No, I mean, you guys literally killed yourselves to make your money so you could pay for all your toys every session. So actually that was quite impressive, and very interesting as a litmus test of hey, who could actually afford to use this stuff? Well, psychopaths that only do all score missions. So yeah, I can't wait for the bloody and disgusted, cynical war stories of people who are like, yo, we need that war rig, and we're playing just a more run-of-the-mill vanilla Red Markets campaign, doing jobs and stuff, and man, we didn't even make half of our breakpoint. Yep. What the fuck?
Yeah. You need to go all gas, no brakes. That's the only way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
As we really did that. And Yeah, so to remind the listener, for our Enclave creation, I think it was my dumb idea that sort of kickstarted it. Or what was the initial genesis in terms of like where you wanted to set the? Because I don't actually remember too much about Enclave creation. I remember I was like Sky Zone.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I just airballed it out to you guys and said, "Yo, I've done quite a few different locations throughout the states, throughout the loss of the states, and now Britain as well." I know that's not technically Caleb's canon that Britain has lost, but it does in the far flung realms of BSA. But so yeah, I was like, "Yo, where do you guys want to go?" Because I mean, you guys have done this to death. I don't want you guys to be bored because I know you guys are just doing me a solid, and especially recording it and everything. I was like, "So what do you guys want to do?" You guys are like, "I don't know. I want to do this." And then it was just like, "Well, let's just do. Everybody has their own enclave. Since you guys are going to be mobile, you're going to be a road crew. Let's do that." I haven't heard of anybody trying that yet on a campaign. And then you guys all were like, "Well, I want this and I want that." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let me do some research." Hey, weirdly enough, turns out Missouri can accommodate all of that. So yeah, let's see what the loss looks like just this side of of the line of the Mississippi line, and with all this, all the kind of nonsense that would probably occur there. And then you guys all built your enclaves from there, and basically I just ran with you guys' ideas. Like that was pretty much all 100% you guys on those enclaves.
But yeah, I had forgotten about that geography stuff because you actually have another Red Markets campaign, the Mavericks, on RPPR Tabletop Tales, which you could listen to, and I'll be sure to put the link in the show notes. And that is set in the Southwest. Where exactly?
It just east of Dewey Humboldt, Arizona, which is maybe 45 minutes north of Phoenix. So up in the mountains north of Phoenix.
Okay.
Before you get up to like the Flagstaff area, I think.
Okay.
If I remember.
So yeah. So let's go ahead and introduce the players now. And let's start with actually our player geographically furthest from us all right now, which is Maddy.
What? Me?
Yep. And also mention your enclave too, the one that you designed, and why you chose that enclave. Yeah.
God, I definitely remember these things.
No.
Yes.
I can throw you your notes on that when you need it. But yeah, go ahead and talk about your characters first.
It was like sus. I don't even remember the name of it. Like I know I wanted like a mixed population, like not just like a bunch of people that came together, but like a bunch of people that came together as a necessity. And what was the water source? Like the dams?
Reservoir. Yeah, it's
reservoir. That's it. Yeah. So it was the people are gonna want to control the water, but a lot of people are gonna want to control the water. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people, when they get to this place, they realize maybe the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And it just seems like having that kind of diversity within an environment, as in like, well, evil monster bad, kind of. Yeah, that just seemed like a good idea to me, I guess. I'm not sure.
It worked.
Could be that. Could also have been the drugs. That was a big part of the idea,
yeah, that as well.
They are a factor.
They were a significant factor. It's literally Sinaloa cartel and hillbilly mafia intermarried between each other to like, because it's like, well, drugs really don't matter anymore. You know what is going to be the new hot shit on the black market? Water, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about groups that would actually like survive a zombie apocalypse, they would be both in the top running, and they're both pragmatic groups.
They really are. Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I do love me some good, some good crime thriller drama. So like, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I know where I'm going with this because like,
so
yeah, the strange bedfellows of like Sons of Anarchy and stuff like showed like, it's like, yeah, no, groups that are kind of have this aspect of like, yeah, maybe they're a little bit
How do we
bigoted, but they're also very pragmatic because they have to work together in order to make their money. So, and then, oh, hey, how do we make that politically work? And then, Boom.
Tell us about Dexy.
Oh man. Really enjoyed playing them. That was like I realized looking back now, like I played this real close to home, but also like obviously not just a copy of me, but a very close thing of me. But I guess that's the like playing a campaign, not quite stepping out of my comfort zone. I think if I did it again, I would try play someone who was more a talky person because I don't play that normally.
Mm-hmm.
But Dexy was fun. Dexy was like, all right, let's just go headlong into danger. I like playing characters like I've stolen a car.
Yeah.
It's if it works for the character, do it. I know it's a terrible decision, but it works for the character, so let's go. Which is probably why Dexy had the demise at the end. I'm like, no, I know this is a terrible idea, but it wouldn't be real if I didn't do it. Yeah, I loved the relationship with Darlington. That like, well, they're dead. Oh well, just that was a joy.
With
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Darlington becoming a Leighton.
Yeah, that was nice.
The death of Darlington, yes.
Which
Yeah.
The first death of Darlington, if we're being honest now. So
yeah. I don't really know what else to say.
So the background, you were the driver, obviously. I forgot what Dexy's pre-loss.
Stunt driver from Hollywood. So it was a
okay.
stunt driver from Hollywood. So I was like, why would I have car skill? Because I was like, someone should probably have good car skill in campaign. So it's like, oh yeah, like a racer or a driver. Oh, stunt driver. I could do Hollywood. If we're doing Hollywood, then my companion probably also from that industry. I was like, what if they were just a set medic, but they didn't want to go out into the world, so they pretended they were a script writer, which is where Charlie came from. And then when Dexy died, it's like, well, Charlie already has these falcons set up sort of as a war asset. So if I've just become Charlie, maybe Charlie's name wasn't actually Charlie. It was a call sign. So now they're called Delta.
Because I also remember, because when we're doing the vignettes, you had me roleplay Charlie, and you had a different idea for Charlie than what I went with.
In my head, Charlie was like this brooding dude who just didn't give a shit. And then you're like, I'm going to be the most hyperactive. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, I did not see that coming. Yeah, obviously just roll with it because it worked. But yeah. And then like trying to play Charlie, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep up this hyperactivity. I'm like, I can't keep this energy up. I'm going to just slowly phase that out as we do more episodes because it's Charlie. Delta's gonna learn. Let's maybe not be all gun ho.
You see, I didn't even necessarily think of Charlie as being hyperactive, as just being like relentlessly optimistic and positive.
Yeah.
So, and also especially because the way I saw it is whenever Dexy was there, it's like, oh, I need to be extra nice to Dexy and extra cheerful because Dexy's had a lot of stress on their shoulders. So, think positive. That's how I was approaching it. But I like that interpretation as well. So we'll get into Delta, I guess, after we get everybody else, because that, obviously, you got to play twice as many characters as everyone else. That's the way we'll look at this.
And a ghost.
Yes. So yeah, and a ghost.
The ghost in the shell.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah. So David, tell us about DACA.
Well, what's there really to say about the poor boy? When we started talking about war rules and how we were going to be most likely having to have somebody who could man a turret on a vehicle, I thought, well, if we've got a driver, we're also going to need a gunner.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that he was probably going to be the first one to catch a bullet. And so I decided, who would be the one who would be crazy enough or stupid enough to sit on the back of a vehicle, fully exposed, hanging onto a gun for dear life, but still unloading it. And so I landed on Black Math War Orphan, who just honestly didn't know any better. And that was the birth of Daka. I decided to just kind of give him a charisma of 1, but the way that I justified it is that while he is enthusiastic and he seems nice on the surface, talk to him for about 5 minutes and you'll realize there is definitely something off about this kid, because he was raised by a Black Math battle nun. So yeah, there's gonna be some things he's not gonna get. I think Maddy put it best in one of the episodes where it's like, you call the place where you work out a James, but you know how to calculate windage. Yes.
Yeah.
That's Daka.
And what enclave did you create?
Well, I figured that with vehicles and the mayhem around those, we were most likely going to need fuel of some kind. And so I figured that there would be a spot where they would, find a way to make fuel, because there's not going to be oil refineries going, but on the other hand, corn. It's relatively hardy in the right circumstances, which is Missouri. And since we're setting it here, that's how we ended up with sucralose. Basically a glorified corn farm that is still doing corn squeezins in every different form that they can. Some of that is ethanol corn, and some of that is food corn, and some of it basically turns into whiskey. And I figured that the person that would be taking care of it would be a red-headed stranger. So that's how we ended up with sucralose and its leader, who is Willie, a man with his hair in 2 braids, a bandana around his head, who plays a guitar.
Original character, do not steal.
Original character already stolen. Like blatantly stolen. I'm sure he would find it a compliment, though.
Yeah. I did like Daka, and I think you thought of Black Mass first, which made me make some of my decision, or inspired me for my character. But before we get into that, Aaron, Darlington rides again, huh?
Yeah, so and the funny thing is, initially I was trying to think of another D name to continue with that, but Maddy also prompted saying like the Darlington tradition has to ride forth. So at this point in time, I'm figuring it's just an extended Black Adder reference that's just going on into infinity, considering how many times the Darlingtons die. But no, we do have a new Darlington in this game.
Yeah, and so it is kind of similar to some of the characters you have played in the past in Red Markets. Did you have any different ideas or anything different you wanted to try with this, or were you just like, I like playing the drone character, the tech support guy, so I'm going to stick to my strengths?
I actually did not go full tech support on this one. So, because as I had said before, I actually have not done full on drones. Like when we were beginning off with, the Brutalist, you had Ludwig, so you were really kind of pulling from there. But I wanted to see what I could pull from that as mainly as a separate weapon alone, or at least a separate platform, because of the new rules that have come in with Evelyn goods and everything else. Yeah. That's something that we wanted to try out. And I really thought, like, well, what if somebody else who was kind of an engineer type, at least a little bit, managed to get his hold on one of the a Boston Dynamics prototype, and to say that I can literally mount a massive gun on this and just completely live out the fantasies of having your own. That's like Mechanical Buddy just covering for you every single time. And I wanted to see how far that concept could go, where I am fairly helpless, and I have to depend on that. And as much fun as it was, it got me into so much more trouble than I actually thought, which was great for the game. I'm absolutely pleased that happened. But it also caused it was interesting too, because this is probably the character that I have spent the most on for any of my gear and equipment, and it was a stress to try to get everything paid for, every single one. I think even more so than most of the other crew.
Yeah, Yeah,
So,
what was your upkeep? Do you remember off the top of your head?
19.
Oof, yeah.
Because that included the Shadow Fox, which was the name of the drone, along with the recoilless rifle that I had on top of that, and all the upgrades to it to basically allow it to be autonomous. So that was absolutely the biggest part of that.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And what tell us about your ideas for your enclave?
The Enclave idea that I submitted was what became the Shaft. So it was a emptied out Minuteman silo that had been converted over into like a tiered enclave structure. But also the big draw for it is that it actually had satellite. It had certain satellite communications that were not available to Ubik at the moment, or at least trying to integrate. So they were one of the enclaves trying to get in good with the moths. And so we could actually sell out essentially access internet time to other people to keep us relevant with the grid, or at least set in communications like, hey, for some reason Ubik screws up or you can't do that, go to the Shaft. They have another option. It will cost you a little bit more. It's kind of crappier, but honestly, it'll get to what you done.
There you go. Cool. So for my character, Deacon, I think when, David mentioned Black Math, and obviously, so you're playing the tech character, Dave was playing gunner, driver, and then it's like, okay, well, I someone needs to be the talker. Although with the score campaign, I mean, talking turned out to be really useful, but it's not intrinsically necessary per se. I mean,
you used the skills at least once.
Yeah, I did use them at least
that one time.
That one time.
And only one time.
Yeah, only one time, apparently. So, I mean, we did use it to raise up the price for a lot of things, which often meant the success between failure, whether making a profit or not, which was kind of important. But I had this idea of Black Math, but what if I do like characters who are internally conflicted. So I had this idea for Reform Black Math, which started as a joke, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, Black Math obviously starts as a cult in the trauma of the Lost, just, seeing the zombies kill everybody, seeing all this massive shit. And you're like, you just, I've got to stop the zombies at any cost. But like after 5 years, you can't just go out in a blaze of glory. It's not necessary as much as it is to like someone needs to rebuild. You can't just so I thought maybe Deacon is trying to was a hardcore Black Math cultist, but is now trying to temper himself to not be so much, because there has to be life, civilization continuing, now that he's adopted a kid, and there are all these people who depend on him. So yeah, Deacon, I just wanted, and especially by later stage, was getting to be really conflicted, because he's definitely do as I say, not as I do kind of character, or do as I say, not as I do, because he's not necessarily living up to the principles that he's preaching. And then Sky Zone was again just me having fun, like trampolines, casualties. It's funny. People would laugh at that.
And honestly, I honestly felt like that interpretation kind of played with the evolution of the writing of Red Markets and RPPR's campaigns specifically, because that's mostly where my experience comes from, is watching you guys develop this and then you guys kind of pulling me into it. But like my read on Black Math was it was like evolutions of already established religions. Like I saw, if not in the Brutalist campaign, then at least in the La Corbusier supplement, like this Neo-Norse paganism aspect to, obviously in Fallen Flag you had like a Jesuit priest, so there was like Catholicism there. I tried to contribute to that as well with Qarmatian Muslims in Mavericks. So yeah, I think that makes sense that you made a Martin Luther or whatever, or maybe
tried to be. Yeah.
Maybe there's a better reference point to that, because I don't know if temperance was necessarily what he was going for, but more like, I don't know,
trying to like
for democratizing Christianity. But yeah, but I don't know. But anyways, I just feel like that played really well. That it's like, like Black Math is its thing, but like you always see a derivative that it derives from already established religion, whereas most of the other cults seem to have just been kind of their own thing, the different forms of like trauma and psychosis kind of playing out to the fullest extent, for
I mean,
it would create threats and whatnot for players.
Yeah, I mean, Black Mass is a death cult. It's just suicide by casualty. It's trying to die in a blaze of glory, and that's like what. Like, I mean, there's a truism they're saying about, like, that's what the immature man wants, is to die as a martyr, as a hero. But the sign of maturity is to live humbly for the cause, to just put in the time and the years. And so, like, that's what Deacon's representing and conflicted by, because, he's trying to do that, but the stresses of the job really get to him, especially towards the end. And also, and Sky Zone is just like, Black Markets is satiric and absurd a lot of times too, because you got it. Yeah, even dumb jokes can have meaning. But yeah, that was my
I mean,
very much.
Yeah. Look at us. We're playing. We're what is it? Fiddling as the boat sinks, or what's the I don't know, what's the phrase? Yeah.
Playing the fiddle as Rome burns.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is that not kind of what we're doing?
So, or also playing the violin as as the Titanic sings. It has been the honor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So I mean, there's a lot to that with Sky Zone, which is why I was like, I know you're memeing, but I'm going to make this work, because actually this makes a ton of sense to me. That like, we would literally be the new entertainment. There would be entertainment industry. It would be ridiculous, but like someone will pay for this dumb shit.
Oh yeah,
and that will keep an enclave alive if you can just do enough dumb shit.
Yep.
I mean, I think you showed that YouTube of the dude that it makes however many thousands of dollars he makes a month, like just jumping on tables.
Oh yeah, superhuman.
God. Like that this is a thing.
Yeah, there's a dude. Yeah, there's that. There's people who eat old rations on YouTube for money, just because millions of people watch you eat a ration from the Korean War. And reality's absurd. And players can have a little meme as a treat. And
botulism occurs.
Yeah, and then botulism. Delicious botulism.
Because I ate an MRE from the beginning of the Iraq War, and it about killed me. So.
Like literally or spiritually?
No, I mean literally, Aaron. It fucking poisoned me.
Oh god,
it was atrocious. Like, I was excited because I was like, "Oh, it's got name brand snacks in it." Wait a minute, they haven't put name brand snacks in the MREs in a long time.
Oh no!
But it has Lorne cookies. Do I want it? It was at night too, so I couldn't even see it. But the minute I bit into the meat, I was like, "Oh fuck!" It shouldn't be jerky. It's in a gravy. This is bad.
No.
Oh, that hurts my soul just hearing it, man.
It's you
know what? A sandstorm just rolled through. We'd been mortared that day. Like, it was just, I did it.
Perfect way to end a day, huh?
Yeah, it really was. Laying underneath the Humvee, just eating this, going, I want to die, but not like this, because the government won't give my family $400,000 if I die like this. Please, someone blow us up right now.
No.
Push me out to the border. I'll be fine.
Wow. But speaking of
this is real, folks. This is real shit right here.
Although it kind of feels like a red market
live.
Yeah, it's a very red market. It's a very appropriate for red markets.
Yeah, that's a very red market story outside of red markets.
Crit fail on your scavenge check.
Yeah. Yep, basically.
Yeah.
That is something I really enjoyed about this campaign, is the fact that, like, Jason knows a shit ton of things about stuff. Like, it's really...
Exactly.
It's like, can I grenade the things? Like, no, dear, you can't.
Oh, yeah. No, if anything else I want to compliment you on, too, is, like, my idiocy with any firearms above, like, the one I own, which is like, hey, can I shoot this particular rifle without blowing my head off? No, it's going to kill you and everything else behind it. Stop that.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. Overpressure, it's a thing.
But we have one
that
more.
Shell weighs 5 pounds. It's got to get from point A to point B somehow.
It does. There's a lot of lovely problem solving in this campaign. But before we move on to that, we do have one more player character, Delta. So after Dexy's unfortunate demise, Maddy, what were you thinking when you made?
I want to pause right there for just a second. Your fucking blood test was an absolute nightmare to your crew.
Yeah.
You all passed every bite check that was made this entire campaign. Every single one. And every single one led to the death or the destruction of the player who was bit after they checked it. Like, every single time. It was honestly amazing to watch.
Yeah. So
I'm rolling and I look and I'm like, darn it, I didn't get him. And then you're like, I'll get you. Test. Roll. Fail. I don't have any will. Infected. What is happening?
Which honestly, I thought you were just gonna let me go at that point because it was like, oh, it's Darlington Times finally. Like, nope, second Jason game in a row. I got hit with the suppressor.
I didn't do it to you this time. Ross did that to you. You can thank him.
Yeah.
I was totally gonna be like, Aaron, time to play a vector.
Yep. Reform Black Math is okay with Latents because they can kill more casualties. So yeah.
Aaron, that was Ross's first disciple you ran into out in the Arizona desert.
Oh no!
I think that's canon now. Deacon, your word has spread far and wide.
Just retroactively retconning that.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Those of you guys who hadn't listened to that campaign, they had their one player was one bounty shy of being able to make their final milestone so they could go to Joel's. So they had a penultimate session. It was a fuck around session. They did a mean job that they'd been saving the entire campaign just to meme right at the end of the campaign because they thought it'd be fun. Turned out it wasn't fun at all. But on a leg, they friggin' ran into the Black Math being ambushed by Meek job. Aaron gets bit and turned in his fucking power armor. And due to the efforts of Katie, they rescued the Black Math dude, and the Black Math dude saw Aaron get bit, and he's like, nope, can't be having that, and freaking darts him with a trank gun with suppressant loaded in it. So yeah, I'm calling it. That's Deacon's first disciple. He made it all the way out to Arizona.
I have a feeling that you're doing this so I could just sit there and blame Ross for me turning and slide the responsibility to him.
I'm just saying, I'll find a way to do it in the next Sunday Red Market campaign. Right? You're getting it.
Yeah.
Just might as well just pick Leighton from the start because I'm going to.
I look forward to this cat and mouse. I'm very excited about it.
Anyway,
I'm glad that Dexy didn't turn. Like that is like I thought the entire process. I was like, no. The way I've been like. Darlington's been dead this entire time. I'm like, no, I choose actual death. Like, and to get the suppressor and have the suppressor kill them, it's like that's fitting.
I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. First roll, you're like, I'll do my head. Oh, I don't think you're surviving.
I have to give you absolute credit for those last words. That is the most Black Mathy way to go out.
Yeah.
Taka, you get my half of the barn. Guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Delta.
Yeah. What were you thinking with Delta?
God, well, I think at that point I was just like, what has Ross given me? What can I do from this? Like, I already knew that they were like the medic before. So I was like, I'll have first aid. And like, I guess hanging out with Dexy, I would have learnt some. I'm going to give myself like 2 in drive instead of 3 in drive because we still need a driver.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just kind of was like, all right, well, Charlie was like real enthusiastic, real into it all. And I'm like, well, I guess if it's their turn to go out, they're just going to like, let's do this. Let's just go. I mean, we could kill them. That's what you guys do, right? Yeah, we're just like, just kind of ran with that, I guess. They definitely mellowed out as the games went on, just because, God, it was hard to keep doing that level of enthusiasm going. Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, Contact with Reality would do that, like after a couple of jobs. Oof. Yeah.
no, they were fun to play. They weren't as I think if I made like a second character that was completely new, I could have done more, because I realized like I was just kind of playing them a bit similar, because besides the energy level and the positivity, they didn't really have anything that separate the two characters. Like they were kind of from the same cloth, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's fine. That was it worked. It was a good group dynamic, because I think we all had different scenes with each other that worked really well. I mean, and it was especially towards the end. We real like the best Red Markets campaigns are the ones where like it's your co-workers and you just like you have to rely on them. But
you're getting out of the truck, really?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You're fighting all of them like that. I'll deal with this girl in the basement while you guys take care of the ones in the. Wait, what is going on? I'm away for 2 minutes, and yep. Yeah. There were several times I had to bite my tongue to not like backseat play. Like, no, don't. Okay, you did that. All right. Yep. And I'm glad I did, because like it was certainly more entertaining that way.
Well, it's very much, if there's a poor decision to be made in character, I'm going to make it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we all did that. I specifically chose one of my soft spots so I could get Will back for doing those decisions. I'm really glad I did I'm the only martyr in this group, or what did I call it exactly? But it was like, well,
there's no martyr but me or something.
Yeah. And I'm just loading up my character right now because I did love that. No, I'll do the stupid dangerous thing. At least I'll get a will from it. I'm the only martyr around here, buddy. That's it. So, yeah.
And to be fair, I think we all kind of grabbed at least one that would take us right into danger, because like with Daka, it was fuzzy math, and the fact that he still believes he has to get the KDR, and with Darlington, his love of robots, and we're going to do all of the things with robots first.
Well, actually, that was a different one on mine too. Mine actually specifically, the Fox is absolutely important, but family first was there, so it actually ended up with like taking stupid risks for everybody else.
Yeah, I think
really went into a dark place as your character evolved.
It did. Yeah. It absolutely did. So,
yeah, poor Darlington really did have a tough time of it this campaign. Yeah.
Well, and I'll actually call myself out on a little bit that after being interned right now, I wasn't honestly having a good month when the first start that happened. So that did kind of color at least how I was playing that forward. So that it happened, but yeah, that's in turn. I think it still functioned in an interesting way for the game.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it forced you out of your archetype, though, Aaron, and like as frustrated as I know that was for you in moment, like it was nice to see Aaron Karsten playing a character that wasn't Aaron Karsten. Or
Fair
was
enough.
it? Is this what we're going to get out of Aaron when the world ends? Is this what Aaron becomes? Do we finally see the perennial, happiness and upbeatness finally melt away, and this is all that's left? I hope we never know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You'll find out next fall.
That's quite frankly, Aaron, you're my canary in the coal mine. Like if I see you starting this way, I'm like, all right, well, this really is it, isn't it?
Wow.
Sorry, you just reminded me of that moment of that Team 4-star moment of Vegeta apologizing. It's like, oh, we are fucked. So good to know. I'll try to make sure that the positive attitude's up.
So I think we should talk a little bit about like at least highlights in terms of favorite jobs or encounters of that thing, because I you have a list of all the sessions. Like Maddy, what was if you had to pick one? What do you think your favorite game session was?
Oh, just one?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to be like all these small bits from all of them.
Okay, well, if you want to talk about encounters, that's better too. Like, that's fine. Like, what are your favorite encounters or scenes?
I loved the red light caravan, like the character from I forget her name. She was amazing.
I think I just called her Madam.
Yeah, she was amazing, and like that entire job was just fun.
Session 3, rescuing the sex workers.
I'm really glad that didn't like push anybody's buttons the wrong way. Like my inspiration for that was Heart of Gold, the one of the unaired episodes of Firefly, and like kind of this idea of like tropically throughout history, like militaries really have actually needed this industry, and like that can get real dark and gross of like you know raping and pillaging, but it also can get kind of like more mundane of like literally camp followers and all that sort of thing. Like it's kind of necessary to like keep soldiers heads like in the game. Like you need to deal with that the chemical shit show that you go through and especially in a long campaign of war. Like, and so I was like, all right, how do I make this not exploitative, like in the wrong ways? And so like I was trying to make sure that she had as much agency as the National Guard Master Sergeant did in all this. Like,
and I absolutely felt that too. Like it never felt exploitative. If that makes you feel better.
I mean, it literally was all in the moment because you motherfuckers. But like, no. Like,
what can I say except you're welcome?
Yeah. But yeah. So. Anyways,
I do have to, for the campaign social, I do like how we did stick with the scores the entire time, and so every single one was largely improvised, or pretty much entirely improvised. I mean, the finale was obviously planned out because
your vehicle sessions were mostly pre-planned.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Like especially the Lake of the Ozarks, you had to get the war rig. Like, oh, there's a job where you can get a vehicle. Like, okay, yep, let's go do that one. So yeah, that's true. I really like that aspect. But yeah, that was a fun scene, especially role playing with that group before we have to rescue them from the bikers. And boy, we totally dealt with those bikers. Didn't have to worry about them again.
Never again.
The minute you guys failed to deal with Mother Goose, I was like, nope, write that down. Gotta come back at some point. Were there any other particularly memorable scenes that stuck out to you, Maddy?
I love just being unconscious through most of the hedge mage. That was just like the worst role ever. Fantastic. Like, just the chaos of everyone being separated at the same time. Like it was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. They were definitely teenagers. They're definitely like 18-year-olds. Looking around nervously. No, we weren't shooting kids. It's fine.
They totally weren't 11.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's like
the
Fallout.
World may never
we
know.
just knocked them unconscious. They can't. Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, you guys rescuing. Vis-a-vis abducting and then forcing adoption onto that one, and like, we did a good thing today. grin, walk away before anyone questions it.
Yeah, Ross, we were dangerously on the level of the Batman skit. It's like, they're just sleeping.
Yeah, no, it was very much that.
We were right on the edge.
No, I like that. Sorry, yeah.
Like just saying, an NPC I loved was Agent Lynch. Just having to deal with us all the time, fantastic. I'm real glad that Jason allowed me to have that as a war asset.
So, Agent Lynch appears pretty much in everything I do, red market wise, but it's never the same guy or woman. Yeah. It's been a woman a couple times actually. That joke comes from the 18 movie from 2010, where all the CIA agents are all named the same fucking thing, and they're all memeing it like throughout. And they're like, "Yeah, I worked with an Agent Lynch in Vietnam. Short guy, blonde hair. Is he any relation to you? Never heard of him. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I didn't think so. Like, I like that idea of like, yeah, all these fucking DHQS agents all have to interact with when they have to interact with lost assets. They're like, okay, yeah, no, we all have the same stupid fucking name, and I try to make them all each and every one a unique individual. And you drew the apathetical bureaucrat, like not ostensibly a shady piece of shit, fucking fascist psychopath type of guy, but like, just some like NSA satellite watcher who got pushed up and when he's the last man standing from his office announced like, fuck, why am I getting phone calls from all these fucking barbarians and Mad Max cosplayers? Like, I just want to work my drones and do my job and go home. I don't care.
I do like it, like for the Red Market's image of the DHQ as being this omnipotent, evil, shadowy agency. But no, they still have their own people, have to deal with their own shit too. Yeah. It's a day job for.
And actually, Aaron, unfortunately, you were the one who made the armed Dronkies cannon. That's actually in a leg, where you run into a couple of DHQS spooks with friggin' Dronkies with miniguns on them, and like one's a piece of shit, one's just a soldier, and then one's like a genuinely good dude, like just kind of like trying to do the best he can with the shit situation. I was like, I'm glad that made it in there because when you just, again, Red Market's like lore stuff is all told from a perspective, but like if you just take it all like at face value, it's like, yeah, no, DHQS is really, really bad, and I'm not saying it's good, but like, yeah, there's individual operators out there, and like you're talking about, intelligence agency assets and contractors and soldiers. It's like they can't all be monsters.
And those gray areas are good to actually have, always, just because it makes it for more interesting gameplay. Or if I have to let me refer back to one thing in the Mavericks when which how I've read the story and how it's going, I'll usually go and stand for the moths, even though they have their problematic aspects as well. But when you had us going against that Wetworks guy and having to go through, and basically I wanted to kill him so badly, but it was just, I'm sitting there going like, nope, can't do it. Just if I ever see you again, but you have your reasons for doing this.
Also, for the fans out there who listen to this post-mortem, who listen to Mavericks, that was the episode you guys didn't get to hear. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm referencing that. So lost the time.
That wasn't your fault. That was literally the one that we didn't record. Like that the recording went bad on.
Okay.
Yeah, that was that one. Like,
but yeah, to give you a bit of fun, Jason pulled a 310 to Yuma on me. So.
Literally, I just retold that one because I was like, "This sounds fun. Let's do that."
I've ripped off Yojimbo like at least 6 times in different games, and that's on the low end. It's probably closer.
Ross,
to 12.
we stopped counting a long time ago. We just kind of. It's on the RPPR bingo card for a reason.
I mean, it's a lot of them are the Patreon games. Like,
I mean, you did literally force me into that in this campaign. If we want to, talking about moments from the campaign, your theater rope job was,
I'm a player. I don't have that kind of power.
I prefer Last Man Standing, but like, Yojimbo, Fistful of Dollars, etc. et al. Like, that's literally what that was. And yes, you most certainly did, because as you said multiple times, I want a job where I'm the center of attention. I want to negotiate. I don't want to shoot my way out of another bad situation. It's like, okay, fine. You build the score then.
I know it's recorded, but I deny all responsibility.
Anyway.
So,
David, how about you?
Yeah, David, what are some of your favorite encounters or scenes, I guess?
Well, I don't think I can just kind of say specific few here and there. I loved pretty much the whole campaign, but some of the standouts for me, I loved embracing the math in a weird way. Like at one point, Dexy and Daka were competing for who had the most ink. I loved the different interpretations of just what exactly is black math, because that showed up a lot, like everybody trying to define it in their own ways.
Like your whole crew pretty much were black math, aren't they?
At one point, like everybody was black math except I think Aaron.
Yep.
He's posthumously black math, like.
No.
No.
Deacon's
making your grave. You're black math
I'm
now.
sorry, what's that? I can't hear a word you're saying. Not a word.
That was a very black math
Apparently
ending.
the dead can't talk, but you were wearing black ink.
No,
You did
no,
have
no. You're not
lines.
pulling this. No. There's no putting this posthumous baptizing bullshit on me.
Not
No.
Yeah, it is.
I
Yeah.
recall Ross saying you are sainted now, and
Yeah.
like you are the first saints, you and Delta. So deal with it, buddy.
Like, you can try to argue all you want, but you did.
I can still argue. You're being surprised how long I can argue.
Sometimes I still hear his voice.
Yeah.
It's just whispering on the wind, screaming, "You bastards!
I
I was Presbyterian."
Yeah. No, he's definitely saying, you glorious bastards, you were right. Yes.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I hear it now. I hear it.
Just there's a recording on the Fox that just says everything they say is bullshit.
Oh no, I'm gonna reprogram that shit. Yeah.
That's easy enough to fix that. We can just delete that and say black math forever.
Oh, and shock protocols too. There we go. So, all right.
Yeah.
But also the different interpretations on everybody's dependence. Like, I had originally envisioned Sister Agatha to be the sweetness and light. Oh, that's okay, dearie. Come here. Come tell Sister Agatha what's going on. I think I've got a sweetie somewhere. At the same time, Eye Patch, Desert Eagle, just, God saw to take my eye, but he left me with the one I shoot with. It's all beautiful. This is all part of the plan. I saw her as kind of the don't worry, the universe has a plan, as opposed to we wash in cold water because that's the way we get clean. The ice cleanses our soul. You made her a little bit more German than I expected, Aaron.
I'll admit I was watching some one of the compilations of Werner Herzog at that point, so that kind of inspired it.
Interesting.
But then we get Jason saying, "It's all right. Go with God and a bag of guns."
Yep. Very inspirational.
And then the arguing too, as far as, okay, so that one was an aberrant, right? I'm pretty sure that's an aberrant. How do I keep track of that one different from the others? So I know latents are bold, right? We put a latent in bold, and then is the aberrant a squiggle? I think we just make it a squiggly one.
Yeah, makes sense.
The fact that most characters would respond to that with horror, like most games, it's what the fuck did we kill, as opposed to, that's a special one, isn't it?
Yeah, good times. So Aaron, any favorite scenes come to mind?
Well, a couple things on there. If going back with Jason, the chase down from the bikers when we were doing the
actual fight.
The actual fight was a great one, and I absolutely loved just all the stress of that too. One of the things I do love the fight also, at least the whole trap with trying to get the Adobe Flash computers, and the fact that coding, we were trying to dislodge all that coding that was running cryptocurrency. Yep. So that was just all it was, and God, that was I was honestly one of those times I was really stressed out that I was just going to die for none of the roles, and by no right should I have made those. But
one thing
you mentioned that one, but honestly, I would have felt like you'd have felt more like that on the second score with the fireworks, where you were desperately running around like, I'm going down with this motherfucking bomb. I'm gonna defuse it, or I'm Slim Pickens this shit.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought, and that was after I was turned, right. So
that was the second episode. That was right off.
Oh no, the fireworks. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Right off the bat. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah. So that was
you set one hell of a precedent for this character.
Yeah. Right? Just I know that Dexy / Delta
Flash computers. I was just like, I've already seen you play this game, Aaron, so I'll just keep throwing them at you. See how long you can juggle.
Only for so long, but it worked on there. I do want to put a big thing that the one of the ones I absolutely love, though. Even though it took me a bit to get to it, was the underground later of the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. I did not see that coming at all.
The Meek, yeah.
For the Meek, I thought that was amazing. The fact that it was finally one where we looked in and said, like, no, we can get more stuff right now. We're all dying of radioactivity and blight. No, we're done. Going home. I just cannot stand it.
I like that scene too, because it was like, oh, I could just lie my way out of this. And we could. So, yeah.
Goodbye forever, Spider-Man.
Yeah. I do want to mention, you're talking about your die rolling. I do like, of course, obviously I miss person-person games, but one of the fringe benefits of doing online games is die spot. And I consider that a feature, not a bug, because die spot is a capricious and uncaring god. And if there's ever been a more appropriate thing for red markets, then I don't know. I mean, like, it's God, die spot just... Guys, Dicebot giveth and Dicebot taketh the fuck away. Like,
no, I'm under the assumption it's a reincarnated Greek god at this point.
Oh,
that is just getting certain prayers off. It's like or certain charges off of each time it gives us a small boon and then just sinks us straight down. Like, you thought you barely got this interaction with it. Let's see if you can make this last roll. Nope, you get. It's like you have to pay for the job that you're going on now. Fuck you,
Maddy. Do you want to explain to the listeners the little image that you just posted in the chat?
Yeah, so at some point during, I don't know what episode it was, I think Ross said it, was Dicebot demands blood. And so I wrote a note in my Red Markets notebook of Dicebot demands blood, and I drew a little dice holding a knife. Then one of my mates on Twitter who does art, I'll see if I can't remember to link their Twitter for you guys. They sent me they created the sketch I did because I put it up on Twitter into like a really cute little Dicebot image. So now that's a little emote for our server whenever we get crit fails.
Just a little D6 with a knife.
Yep.
So cute.
Very happy too. Like he's just
he's overjoyed.
Just overjoyed. It's very much like that little video of like, what are you holding? A knife! No! Dicebot's running away, with a knife. Yeah.
Oh,
good times. Yeah, not for our characters though, but some of the sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was saying, when we get back to it, we'll probably be singing the praises of Dicebot when our other dice start screwing us over in face-to-face games at some point in the future.
It got towards the end of the campaign that I knew if Dicebot was good at the beginning of the campaign, like if I was critting, like I actually didn't. I know I critted a couple of my social rolls to double the price, or to raise the price of the score, the price per haul of it, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to pay for this later on. And I do remember in one scene in particular, I was out of will, and I was like, do I have to roll for this? And can I just like spend a reference to solve this problem? I don't want to roll. And Jason's like, no, you have to. I was like, God damn it. And then I crit failed that roll. And Jason, did you? I was like, yeah, I did know, Jason. It was dealing with the Gators or something. Like, yeah.
I think it was the Gators.
Yeah. Oh God, I just knew it when Dicebot had it out for me. So yeah,
you'd have done the same thing.
I resent and resemble that remark. Yeah. So yeah, I do know some of my favorite.
Just remember, I learned pretty much all my bad habits.
Wow, way to throw that justifiably in my face.
Learned it by watching you.
Yep. I do know a lot of my favorite scenes in the games were when Deacon was really pushed, because I just sort of made decisions without thinking about it. I just said, I'm going to do this, and then I did it.
Like when you murdered that civilian at the lake.
Yeah, that was one of them. It just instantly was like, shoot him. I was like, okay, I guess I am shooting him. That's what my brain was saying when my mouth was saying that. I was like, okay, all right. And well, even earlier on, I remember like a couple sessions in, I remember just like threatening to murder like someone over Ubik because they were screwing us on price or something.
No, it wasn't. That was you guys showed up at your job site and there was a Lala there, And you were like, I want to intimidate him. I was like, okay. You rolled to intimidate. And he was like, okay, fuck you. And you're like, I succeeded. And I was like, yeah, you just intimidated a dude who believes the world came to get him. Yeah, because he's totally just going to wilt instead of going, oh, well, I'm taking your guns from you.
Well, no. There was like somebody at one of the enclaves we were at, and he was like screwing us on something, money wise. And I was like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get you. And
that was the fireworks.
Yeah.
Because the other, you only got half your pay for that. The other half was, I know where you can get a new car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was like, I'm just going to murder somebody in an enclave, which will get me kicked out. Yeah, that's. I don't care. Yeah, and there's Dicebot, but some of the other things is also like, and that's where the rhino thing came. I just impulsively decided not to do that, not to shoot the rhino, and I realized though it was because of shooting the civilian. My character felt guilty about breaking the principles of his own faith that he's preaching so much, and he's just like, and also like Blight
Which
doesn't.
It's a really great character move on your part. I respect you for sticking with that, but fucking rhino was fucking your rig up.
Yeah, I know. It's just, and my character's leg. Like I took a shitload of damage from that.
I've never had more fun than just arguing with you over the fucking rhino.
And to be fair, Ross, even if we had left it alive, which we did, they're still going to die out. I mean, I hate to tell you this, but there's a rhino loose in Missouri. One.
We don't know
they
that.
Don't reproduce by parthenogenesis, man.
Hey, we don't know how many are. We just because we see, if you see one, there's more. That's how it works. There's like
if you see one and only one.
What's the drive-through wildlife park?
Yeah, exactly.
Exotic animal paradise.
Yeah,
that's the one. I think they have a rhino.
Yeah, see, that's two. There you go. No arcs. That. I mean, in real world, like there are hippos in South America because of a drug lord, and they're thriving there. And some people are like, there's too many.
Pablo's.
Yeah, it's Pablo. Yeah, Pablo Escobar. So yeah, Colombia. And so yeah, so like they're. I mean, maybe rhinos will thrive in a post-crash America. Who knows? I'm not going to be the one to make them extinct.
God, that becomes the new dominant fucking wildlife.
That's their.
No longer move convoys through Kansas. Why? Mm-hmm. It's rutting season for the black rhinos.
But like, it also made me, because like after the session, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh well, like a black math person would think about blight because that's the source of evil now. And animals don't get blight; like they just die. They don't become casualties outside of obviously rare aberrants, but blah blah blah. So like, so a whole theology about blight would have to deal with animals and like why humans are susceptible to it and why animals aren't. And so like, obviously, so maybe reformed black math people would be environmental or at least pro animal protection. So, but yeah, I did like Deacon because he was a deeply flawed person who was alternately kind of like, come on, let's do this, to just outright bloodthirsty and very, very contradictory at times. So, but I mean, there were good scenes in all of the episodes, like, but yeah, I don't.
What I really enjoyed is every single score we made. Like, we didn't choose the easy options. We definitely was like, what would be the funnest thing to come up against? Let's just give Jason like so much fuel for this fire. Like,
yeah.
God, it was fun.
And then we'll put out that fire with gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also probably it was mentioned earlier, but I think my single favorite, one of my single favorite moments was just like telling the cultists, oh yeah, we're also cultists, we're on your side, come on down, and just making that check so someone can dome them.
Sorry, it's just your time.
Yeah, because there's a Caleb Stokes school of role playing that lies the most powerful weapon a player has, and guess what it is. So yeah. And also I do think, because there was also, the Lake of the Ozarks thing was also not just shooting a civilian, but also destabilizing an otherwise stable enclave, which has got to be really bad on the black math list of sins, because like that's the whole point, is to have like civilization or something that can survive against the casualties, and sort of undermining that so some other asshole can take over is got to be, and faking a vector outbreak, faking one has got to be like really bad for black math. They can't like the whole thing is to be accurate and do everything to fight them, not to like undermine trust in reports about vector outbreaks and shit like that. So yeah, Deacon's not a good person, but got the job done. And now
Deacon's a player character. That means he's automatically not a good person.
Aw.
No.
I mean, Delta was a good person. And Darlington was, yeah. That's why they're
It was
saints.
the beginning. I don't know by the end.
Yeah.
He went down a long, dark road. I don't know if he could come. I don't know if he was ever coming back from.
Yeah.
Probably not, but he was leaving the legacy. So
I don't have any problems with what you did with any of that.
Yeah, that was a really good choice for your delusion, Aaron.
Oh yes, so hearing the particular voice of a friend, so and from that robot, and of course Maddy just doing a brilliant job of saying whatever was needed to be heard from XP's disembodied soul.
I helped.
Maddy, we're just trying to twist the knife as much as possible. Was that sort of...
No, definitely. Yeah.
Fine, it's good. It's okay.
So, in terms of lessons learned, like Jason, did you learn anything new for this campaign? Is there anything you'd want to do differently, or like?
I fucked the math on the war and put you guys in a nearly unwinnable spot, and I was literally looking at my notes like, "Don't do this," and then I did that. So, so yeah, I gave you guys some outs to not lose. To see if you guys could pull it back, because I was like, I had a real long day leading up to that, and so I didn't actually prep, because I'm like, I've run so many of these fucking things, I know how to do it, but like I've actually got hard rules now. I've got scenarios and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to run all the bus stuff just to see what that looks like, because usually I'm being nice, because lately I've been running so many of them for like RPPR Patreon and stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's be a little, let's keep being mean to these guys. They're pretty hulked up, and then like totally just fudged my numbers on stuff, and I was like, shit, because I had like 15 minutes of prep work, and I'm like, God, where are all my bust rules at? I don't have them highlighted. Fuck. All right, okay, I got to set this all up. That number looks good. Yeah, they'll be fine. And then as you guys start, I was like, wait a minute, there aren't 6 of you guys. There's 4 of you. Why did I set it up for a 6 player?
Oh, that explains.
Okay.
Like, oops. Too late now. We're live. Let's go. Let's see how they do. And then you guys just got slaughtered, and I was like, fuck, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Because I was like, this was my bad. If it was you guys' bad for losing, I'd have let you lose the campaign. But I was like, that was my bad. I fucked up. So I was like, all right, I gotta do something. All right, I'm gonna let Ross try and hold this thing together. But yeah, that's not actually how that rule plays out. I just fucked up and wanted it to be a good game, not like a 15-minute whoops, campaign over. You guys lost.
Were you talking about the zombie accordion rule in particular? Or?
Yep. I'm talking about the zombie accordion rule. Yeah, I've got like a long breakdown of, without specific examples, well, I do have specific examples how the math works out, but like not inherently, I think, specific enough examples for the reader to understand like just how bad this can quickly get. So like, I think I'll relay this anecdote now as an example into the text for Caleb to insert in as like a sidebar or something. But yeah, like it's open freeform, as I believe role-playing game instruction should be. But like, I've got a bit of like, yo, if you set this up so mathematically your players can't win, like that's a dick thing to do. You can do it, but like literally the math, like there comes a point where the math becomes impossible for a player. And likewise, if you go too easy on them, they'll kick your ass like the first round. Yeah. I've had that happen too in a game. And I'm like, don't do that either. Don't be nice. Like, this is a war. This should not be nice. But like, yeah, no, if you set this up and have like, the zombie accordion effect set at like an 8 and 3 on the table, like, yeah, the zombie accordion will cap out at like 24, and you and your players only get 3 tied. And that goes quickly because zombies push forces. So yeah, if the zombies win a round, you the players get fucked really hard and have to work real hard to get back from it. But if you put it where mathematically they can't do it, like, yeah, no, that's just that GG. and that's what happened. So I do apologize for that if you guys noticed that, but I felt I improv'd well enough on the fly to let you guys get back in the game. And you guys did win. So, there's that. But yeah, no, that was all my bad. Like, it was supposed to be scary, but not like, shit, this doesn't add up. We can't do this, like, bad. Yeah, that was an accident. That was an accident. But yeah, so that was probably the biggest lesson learned on that one. Because honestly, I really want to hear some criticism of you guys, because every game session with you guys, like, hooting and laughing and stuff. So like, we gave you a bag of shit and you made a great episode. And I'm like, did I? Because I was juggling chainsaws every single one. It's good that you didn't ask me what my favorite session was, because I was going to rinse you guys on that. But like, jokingly, of course, because it was glorious. And you guys are great. But like, yeah, no, some of those times you guys were clearly memeing, and it's like, I have to build this out of this. And you've handed me cheese that you carved, a smiley face into, and I have to build a house out of this. Like, thanks.
You didn't just build houses out of that cheese. You built entire neighborhoods.
I did over rely on aberrants, and I was purposely, after the first one, trying not to, because you guys like, damn, first episode an aberrant, and I was like, yeah, I probably should have pulled that card right off the bat, but damn, I was already like sweating that first session, like, fuck, I'm not ready for running an all scores campaign.
And to be fair, like, to be absolutely fair with you, you pulled an aberrant and I pulled a grenade launcher, and
yeah,
I did one shot it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we can really
I was like, I'm
complain.
gonna pick an aberrant that's not really a threat, and it's more of just like a fuck. What is that? Why does that exist? Like, more than the it's an Evervac. We're dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think this campaign also, one of the lessons I learned is it's okay to have a campaign that is very focused in one direction. Like, a lot of campaigns, you need a variety of like things in it, like in Red Markets you would do a variety of jobs and scores, but like this all score going all the big all the time, it turned out to work pretty well. Yeah, I think that worked. Yeah. So the finale, I think you kind of figured out yourself pretty well. It's like, yeah, I was kind of on the other side. I was like, wait, this is, I kind of want to fix the math on this. This seems a little odd. I kind of wish we did have the chart that we could have seen, or the tracker. Yeah. So I was actually trying to set up so I could. That's why I was live streaming. I was trying to set my camera up, but again, like, due to my day I had, like, I couldn't get it done. We didn't make the deadline. Yeah.
But yeah, if it's something else that I would say for this game, I've never really felt like, I know you said you felt like you were juggling it most of the time, but honestly, one of the things about your GM styles that I always appreciate is that there seems to be a lot of still good organization to it, and it's one of those that I never feel lost. So as to where we're going to go or what we're going to do or get out of that. So if nothing else, that's a compliment, the big compliment that I can give for this. And also, what I think I learned for this one is honestly a little bit more recklessness in the characters, and to at least have fun with that, just because realistically, when I played any of the Red Markets campaign, I've made stupid moves, but I've been very, very hesitant to actually really be a big risk to the character. And this one, I didn't feel too bad, not only just because it's named Darlington. He was named Darlington, and I kind of figured he would go at some point. But just for the fact that the group dynamic allowed a lot of a testing of things. And by honesty, there's a lot of rolls I should have made. Like, I'm still surprised I gutted that gator's eye. I don't think I shouldn't have been able to do that, but Diet Spoth giveth them that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, there's literally nothing else I could think of to do here. So yeah, have that.
Yeah, man, just
you deserved it.
and I honestly thought I was going out, and just nope. Not until the end, at least.
Survived the Crocs. What the hell? That was such a bad idea.
Oh no, it was horrible, but. At that point, Darlington was kind of losing, and I was already toying with the idea of maybe messaging with Jason saying, all right, now I need to figure out how to bullshit my way to say that the fox had brain engrams on it and can only respond in single phrases. Can we do this? No. So,
yeah, Maddy, did you have any input on this area?
I guess the only thing is probably making that secondary character be someone brand new could have brought something else into the campaign retrospectively looking back. I guess just personally, like, I know I need to play someone who talks more. I don't do the man with a plan. Like, that's not a character I normally play, so I'm gonna try push myself to do that in the future.
I picked negotiator because I figured no one else would do it. So
yeah, I think that's my main thing. Everything else, I just had a fuck ton of fun on this thing. Yeah.
There is one criticism I have. That I made that map for the finale of showing where all the enclaves were in relation to each other, and I realized that would have been really helpful if we had like a Google Doc with like a Google Map or link or whatever at the beginning of the campaign, so we could sort of like spatially see where enclaves were in relation to each other and have that written. Because I know you had those notes on your end, but we didn't have it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Giving the players more of that stuff. So I kept mixing up the enclaves outside of Sky Zone because Sky Zone.
And I mean, especially since since we did this multi-enclave thing where you guys belong to multiple enclaves rather than like, I mean, we've seen enclave networks. That's a normal part of a Red Markets campaign. But literally, none of you all lived together. Like you were literally just coworkers. You weren't even fucking neighbors. Like really, it wasn't like somebody was going down to the wall, banging on the friggin', the Connex box to wake up the groups late and be like, "Yo, man, we gotta ride. Get checked out. Get your fucking suit on so we can go." There wasn't any of that shit. You guys are all over the damn place.
Yep. But yeah, so that would have helped. So I think having that organization probably would have been a good idea.
And something that I think it might be just interesting in a way that if this were run as a full campaign set, is maybe have that map and then have like a little graphic of the of casualties, basically as your consistent weather report, showing them how they're getting closer and closer and putting more of a clock timetable on.
I feel like that is better because to left a little open-ended because fog of war and also dramatic timing. So Jason has more flexibility in speeding up or slowing down that. So
absolutely true. So
at least since this was meant to be a 4-session campaign and then became a 13-session campaign.
Its own thing.
So it'd be like, they stopped to get waffles. They're gonna be a while.
I mean, emotionally, like intrinsically, like I am 100% with you, Aaron, on this. But especially when it was like, I was like, all right, guys, so we've gotten about this far in it, so like, you guys, and you're all just like, can we just do a full one? I was like, I mean, I'm game if y'all are, but like, I didn't intend to take up that much of you guys' time on this, but yeah, sure, why not? And then I can test all 3 vehicles. Why not?
David,
I'd like to point out that you're not wasting our time, you're filling our time with awesomeness. No. Again, cheese neighborhoods. You built entire neighborhoods out of cheese.
Thank you, David.
and it's absolutely, and David's right, it's absolutely enjoyable. And maybe it's an addition onto that idea, saying like a roll mechanic every time to see if the casualty wave gets put off. Like, oh, they found a full Waffle House. They're okay for at least a day or two before they hit the road again.
I like the idea of them just being thematically just they're approaching. And when are they going to be here? When it is plot appropriate. When plot says they're here, they're here. And
I do like that structure that Caleb has of like these things being more like weather patterns than than anything else. I like that imagery. And was trying to, obviously utilize it, but like really play with it, for escalating the campaign. So again, headspace, intellectually, I'm with David on this. Like, it works, as a as a tool for me as the market a lot better. But like, yeah, no, I do like I do kind of want that cheesy like video game bar like Aaron. You know?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's I mean it just had I mean yeah, it has that thing, but it's just more work to set up. So
yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's something to strive for next time. Then, yeah, give yourself more goals for the future. Then, so yeah, Jason, any final thoughts on the campaign as we wrap up? Obviously, everyone's got a chance to say something, but yeah.
I mean, I'm very humbled and appreciative to you guys. You know, like again, like I looked at it as more work and like and Red Markets being such a, kind of a cornerstone of like RPPR with you guys helping Caleb build this thing and stuff. Like, I know there's always the potential of like burnout for it, with everybody involved. So like, yeah, no, I was just like, yeah, no, I need this and I need experienced players. I can't throw this at my Sunday group, or even at my Brits, I need experienced players to handle this. And when you guys started milking it and started making big money, I was like, fuck me, this is going to be so easy and lame. And then quickly seeing like, no, you guys are still like running ragged on the edge half the time. Like you'd get one, you'd be like, yeah, I upgraded so much. And then the next one, you're like, we didn't make any money and our equipment's starting to break. And we have to do every leg or we're not going to make it. And shit, we're losing players now because I was like, all right, this is fascinating. I'm glad to see this because I think this will I think that was the proof was in the pudding there for what Caleb has asked of this stuff from me is that like, no, your average, like Ross, like you said, like an average, more spread out campaign that's more enclave focused and a lot more jobs with, occasional scores or whatever, but like, trying to build towards the Mr. Joel's and all that, like, and like, yeah. And people aren't running, high end, they all aren't running, or, maybe one or two of them are running some high end equipment, but for the most part, they're running more traditional take or loadout, maybe some armor or a melee weapon, and if they're lucky, a gun. Yeah, no, you're not going to go buy the war rig with a fucking automatic cannon and a minigun on the front and be like, hells yeah, we're going to rule the loss. You'll make it one session, that fucking thing breaks down. You're like, well, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And we're in debt out of our ass. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy overall. Like, yeah, everything seems to have worked well. I still need to, I think, put a little more time into vehicle combat because I don't think Caleb really intended there to be too much of that in this, and so as rules as written don't leave a lot of room. It don't leave a lot of guidance, I think, for potential GMs, running stuff. So, because I mean, like, most of these gun trucks I gave you guys were armored, or you armored them at some point. So, like, rules is written unless you have armor piercing, you're not supposed to be hurt. But like, you guys were out on turrets and stuff, so like I was making you guys get shot and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense to me, having actually done this IRL. Like, yeah, that totally makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'll need to actually take a week and try and grind out a chapter on it or whatever, or a paragraph, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, games are never finished; they're just abandoned. Like, I mean, it's but like it shows that it can work, and like there's different Red Markets can accommodate different like models of campaigns, so like that's good. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think
and to be fair, we're not going to see a lot of vehicle-to-vehicle combat for the other reason, which is, do you really want to put this vehicle that costs you, half of a year's worth of rent for the entire party versus another one? Like, every time that thing gets dinged, you're going to be, my bounty, my wallet.
Maddy?
I feel like if you're going to write something for the drive rules, it'd be good to have just a list of vague maneuvers you could do and mechanically how to represent them. Like just have that vague list for people who haven't watched 1,000 action movies or whatever. Be like, this like when in doubt, here's a quick checklist of things that could be done, vehicle to vehicle, like maneuvers, stuff like that.
No, I like that, and I've got my Wrath and Glory rulebook sitting right here, so that there's plenty of games I can go rip off some of those mechanics from that actually have that incorporated.
Yeah,
and
also GMs can easily house rule or hand wave certain things. If they want to put vehicles in, it's like, oh, you have a war rig, don't worry about upkeep. The Enclave's paying for it. You just have to do a special mission for it, and you get to take it out every other adventure or whatever. Or you just have to pay for fuel or something like that. So,
or you have your agreement with the insurance, which takes more humanity damage than it does actually financial damage.
So something like that. Anybody else have any other final thoughts? All right.
Thank you, Jason.
Otherwise, thank you for joining. This was absolutely wonderful.
Well, actually, the one thing I want to say is I want to thank everybody in this campaign because Jason raised a good point about us. I don't want to know about veteran players, but like the fact that we all were able to not do the min-max power gaming thing and just like, I want us to have candy canes and like people who love us. And I'm not going to think of anything too challenging. We were all just in it for the love of the game. And so we didn't really care that much. We didn't want, it wasn't about winning. It was about the story. And so that's all like, oh, it'd be cool if this happened. It'd be cool if this happened. And it turned out, we all had pretty good ideas on what that would be. So
exactly. I actually have to thank Jason for allowing me to basically say, all right, how much can I financially and emotionally break myself with essentially with making a drunkie into a Zoid that barely functions. So
what did it cost you, Aaron?
Everything. Well, I have to make that deal.
The minute you're like, I'm doing this, I'm finally getting to live my best life experience in Red Markets. I'm like, fine, but I know you, Aaron. You are going to be emotionally dependent on that fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
I have been toying with the idea of transcribing this campaign for like accessibility reasons. We'll see if that happened or not. But I've been re-listening to the start of the first episode, and it is literally like, what will it cost you, Aaron? And both of you say everything at the same time.
Did we? If we're nothing if not reliable.
Yeah. I do like this was my first actual campaign with y'all. I've done a couple one-shots, so this is, it's been cool. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next one, whatever it is.
Yep.
Welcome to the fold.
Yeah. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all so much for supporting RPPR. If you're just a fan. Before we go, of course, if anybody wants to mention anything that they want to plug, Aaron, I know you have a thing.
You can find me at Aaron Karsten and Twitter, and also we are continuously playing games on Raillery Podcast streaming on Twitch. Right now we'll be playing a game because we're playing Hades right now, but that probably won't be the case when this comes out. So
no, definitely not. Maddy.
I am Retsmad, RETSMADD on Twitch and Twitter, and I don't know, I'm cool. Yeah, plug, boom, done.
All right, David.
They have a stream too.
Yeah. David, do you have anything you want to plug?
Not personally, but I would like to say if you love Red Markets and you want more, then RPPR is able to supply for you. The Friends of RPPR have a couple of ongoing campaigns over at the Roleplay Exchange and at TechDiff, and I highly recommend both of those.
Mm-hmm.
TechDiff will be finishing up their war campaign on Friday, tomorrow. Well,
I know. I'm
February the 5th, because this is how you will be hearing this in the future. So that'll be out for you all by then.
No. Jason, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yes. We are setting up a pair of Twitch streaming channels. Bike Squadron Alpha is our gaming. And then the creative content channel is BSA_LS. That will change for now. That's
okay.
What it is.
Well, I'll have links in the show notes. So
yep. But yeah, we'll be doing some campaigns, RPG campaigns on the creative channel, as well as miniature painting. If you guys want to go over there, watch us painting Warhammer minis is mostly what we're doing right now.
Cool.
But yeah.
Well, and don't forget patreon.com/rppr. But yeah, thanks you all. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.